bringing you the latest news from Lubbock Cooper Athletics. This is the Pirate Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the High School Fan Zone, last show of the year before Thanksgiving. We come back in December, a little bit different schedule. Before we get out of here, I'll mention that one more time. But we're in the Pirate Fan Zone, as we always finish up. I don't know if Chip knows this. You guys, when we change the schedule a little bit, Lubbock Cooper still they get half an hour at the end of the night. Everybody else just gets 20 minutes. So
I didn't know that.
You have to bring extra material if you come on.
Is that good? Or are we the good kid or the bad kid for getting that extra time?
You guys drive the furthest, so that's
Okay,
why
I got you.
That's why I kind of set it up that way. That way you get time to get here, and plus, if you take care of business Friday, you'll have plenty to talk about. Well, you'd have to win 2 more Fridays. There you go. You have no pressure. Just win 2 more Fridays and come back December 3rd, and we'll talk about being in the state semifinals at that point. So.
Sounds good to us.
There we go. Is that all right with you, Darius?
Yes,
Come
sir.
back and talk about that. Darius Butler is my other guest here. Defensive back and return specialist. That's what they call you when you get to college football and pro football, which is very timely. I gave Chip some homework, but I think I didn't get to him in time. But we're going to guess. And I wish I had my notes from the game the other night. I could cheat off of those. Lubbock Cooper won 45-42 last week in the by-district round against El Paso Del Valle. And I will say this without hesitation, probably one of the 2 best high school football playoff games I've ever covered. Just back and forth, great plays. Both quarterbacks played great, which was a theme going in and certainly a theme going out. But, Chip, the return, the kick, the special teams, and I remember you saying the last time we talked after the Abilene-Wiley game, I think you used the word putrid.
That was about right. Yeah.
Gave up 2 kickoff returns. None of that in this playoff game. You not only didn't give up a big chunk play on special teams, you had several big plays on special teams, and that, they call it hidden yardage.
Yep.
You guys hit a lot of good yards against El Paso Del Valle. This young man had a part in that in kickoff returns, and even the onside kick at the end where Patrick got some dental work rearranged there.
Yeah, he did. Well, so a big deal for us, like Darius doesn't come off the field on defense, and then he's on kick return, he's on the punt team, he's on the kickoff team. Did I get them all, I think, Darius?
Yes, sir.
I mean, in all those you're running, especially in his spot. His punt team, he's not blocking, he's going down the field. But Darius was part of the play of the game, in my opinion. It was a 3-point game with around four minutes to go, and we have to punt. And the way that game had gone, you're pretty nervous. I mean, their quarterback was so good, and their returner, Darius busts his tail to get down there, but then the returner fumbles the ball, and I thought just such a heads-up play by Darius. A lot of times you just kind of dive and reach for the ball. Darius just tackled him and then allowed our other guys to go recover it. So Darius doesn't get the stat sheet of having the fumble recovery, but he made the play, and that was a game-changing play. And
the guy who recovered it was your special teams ace.
Yep.
The guy I heard Tommy Wood talking about it, Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe.
Who's played a lot of special teams, and that got him on the field more in other spots.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It matters. And Kobe wasn't playing a ton on defense early in the year, but his special teams showed, hey, he can play, he can tackle, does things right, and now him and Darius kind of the same. They're on about every special team and impacting the game in a lot of ways.
I remember a few years ago was Kobe McKenzie and your guy at Baylor, Kyler Jordan. We were sitting there talking, and one of them mentioned, I'm on this special team, and I looked at him like, you guys are, hell yeah, we want to be on special teams. Do you want to be on special teams?
Yes, sir. I love special teams. That's something I look for during practice. I love going over special teams.
That right there is what a coach likes to hear when you're.
And I forgot to mention he's on punt return too. He's our punt returner.
That's mainly what I look for.
Yeah.
And Coach made a good point the other day. Punt return's not always what you do with the ball. If you catch it and go, it's just catching it.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to have some, as Bill Rafferty used to say, you have to have some onions back there.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of bodies flying at you in those situations. When did you start doing that? When did you realize this is something I kind of like to do?
I always wanted to be somebody in the backfield catching a punt, a kick return. Don't matter, just from watching football on TV. I always wanted to be that guy, make a play, even if it's not, making the play, just catching the ball. It just looks fun to me.
Is there an internal clock in your head when you're thinking fair catch or not?
I don't know. I don't know if he knows what the word fair catch is.
Yes, most of the time I do not want a fair catch it. I just want to grab it and make a play. But sometimes I gotta just.
There's a lot of faith on our end. I don't know. There's probably a handful of guys that could be our punt returner. Like Darius is maybe the most athletic one of, but there's a handful that could do it. But we've got faith in Darius because we watch him those first few weeks, and there's just not a fear in catching the ball. And to me, that's what is probably the number one key in a punt returner. It isn't necessarily speed or this or that. It's do you have the onions to catch that thing with them? And he does. And so all the faith in the world in him doing it. And he's gotten us plenty of hidden yardage throughout the year, and really some game-changing, momentum-changing plays that he's made.
And just about lit the fuse against Plainview.
He did.
And I don't know if that was your longest punt return of the season. I think it was 60-ish yards, and just about got you guys back to the point where you were going to get back in that thing in a very tough situation with Ryan going out that night.
Yeah, I mean, I think the deal in that game, if that return doesn't happen, I don't think we're ever even in it.
Yeah.
And we gave ourselves a chance to win in that game when it looked pretty bleak. But and a lot of guys involved, but there's also this one right here making some individual plays, pretty impressive.
So Darius, from a defensive standpoint, and it looks like Walnut Grove has a great young quarterback, so kudos to him. Are you pretty glad you don't have to see that number one ever again from the other night?
The quarterback? Yeah, he was a great athlete. He hard to tackle, but I mean, it's whatever.
Well, yeah, we'd play him again. I mean, I think we'd be up for the challenge, but man, he was impressive.
You guys saw Chase Campbell walking out. That kid was the closest to a quarterback version of Chase Campbell that I've seen. Just every time he touched the ball, your defensive coordinator probably held his breath.
Agreed.
And the head coach. That's going to get us to the end of the first segment of the Pirate Fan Zone. We'll be back right after this on 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Lubbock Cooper athletics. You're listening to the Pirate Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back to the Pirate Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. We're talking Lubbock Cooper football. Pirates play Prosper Walnut Grove at 3 p.m. Friday at Anthony Field on the campus of ACU in the 5A Division II area round. Pirates got there by beating El Paso Del Valle 45-42. So for me, I know you guys have to turn the page a lot quicker than I do. I have the luxury or the benefit of kind of basking in it and going, thinking back in my head. And plus, when you drive back 6 hours from El Paso, you have a lot of time to think. But Chip, that's going to be one of those games when your little Pirates that I've ran into the other night, when they're all grown and you're bouncing kids on your knee, grandkids, you're going to be able to go back and talk about that game. How cool was it to be part of that as a coach? You've been a part of a lot of them.
Yeah, it really was. And like Darius could tell you, our theme of the week, and I've talked about it a lot, Lane Kiffin. I'm a Lane Kiffin fan, and I think he's got some skeletons, but I think he's also turned it around. Yep. And I've just been impressed with him and like some of the stuff he says. But he said it this weekend, and it's been our theme this week: is don't overlook when you're living in the good old days. Don't look back and go, man, I wish I would enjoy the good old days. And that's how I feel right now. I'm in it, and that'll be part of it. That win the other night, and I just think this team is fun. They're fun to be around, and that makes those wins even better. And we're 4 games in a row and 1 possession games. They've been through a gauntlet of pressure, and they just handle it well. It's like nothing phases them. There's no pointing fingers, nobody getting mad. We just go out and keep playing. And that's what's been fun about it.
Darius, you've got a much different perspective. I've got a teenager at home, and I know y'all see things differently. When you're in a game like that, do you realize how cool it is, how competitive and back and forth it is, or are you just playing?
Nah, I take those games in. I love those games. I'm going to remember them games for 30 years from now. I love games like that. Like when we play Friendship, I'm always remember that game in Del Valle. Most definitely, I'm going to remember both of those games. I love playing there. in great competition games like that.
You've had a few of them this year, like Coach said. This team, so I've watched you guys for 7 years now, and all of your teams have had a certain personality, but this one, Chip, when we talked about it, your backs were squarely against the wall after Palo Duro. You played really well against Palo Duro, but you had to if you win that game, it's a little bit more wiggle room. Come out of that game, you're backed up in the corner, and your guys just came out and kept fighting, played good teams that had the same thing on the line, kind of the same question. Years from now, you're going to look back at that team and go, wow, how did we do that? Yeah. And I'm proud of them for doing that. I
agree. And honestly, you know, it worked out in our favor, and we got the wins that we had to keep playing. But I think going on the road was big. Like our first game, the backs were truly against the wall. We've got to drive 3 hours to Wichita Falls, and then we have they go score on about a 4-play drive, and then we got a 2-hour lightning delay. Like, I just think majority of teams I've been a part of or been around or watched are folding in that scenario, and our guys, you know, it just came out and really played from after that first drive until about the last 3 minutes of that game, played our best football. And I think that's when our coaches, everybody within the team and the organization realized, okay, we've turned it around, and our mentality is different, and I will remember this team no matter what. And I think we got a chance to keep playing quite a bit of ball, but no matter what, we'll remember this team. It'll always be one of my favorites.
So, Darius, I've asked a couple of your teammates this. The Monday morning practice after the Abilene Cooper game, to me, that's probably where it had to start. Mm-hmm. When you guys got there together as players, maybe before the coaches came in, was there any talk about what do we have to do to not let that happen again, or was it just natural to get it turned around?
It was really just natural. We all know how each other is as a team. We know that's embarrassing. We knew what we had to do that next coming week. We took that all them practices serious. We knew what we had to do. So.
And I think another part of it is having to hold on against Wichita Falls, because you guys had that game in control and then had to just tighten up your belt a little bit. There's been so many steps, and I'll tell you guys what I've told somebody earlier this week. It won't surprise me one bit if there's a reason for you to come back and talk. Well, we're not on next week. If there was a show next week, because I feel like you guys are playing as well right now as any point this season, and maybe any point the last couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's why there's a lot of confidence in the building, and that's what you want this time of year.
And they get to put that on the line Friday against Prosper Walnut Grove, 3 p.m. at ACU. We'll come back and talk more Pirate football after this break on 100.7 The Score.
Your inside look into Lubbock Cooper sports. This is the Pirate Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back into the Pirate Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. That's 100.7 The Score. This is where you'll be able to hear the Pirates game on Friday, 3 p.m. at ACU. Liberty plays later that day on 93.1 Young Country. Monterey's Thursday night in Abilene against Fort Worth Arlington Heights. That's on 97.7. Who am I missing? Estacado plays Friday night in San Angelo against Brock. That's a tough test right there. That's the number 3 ranked team in the state. Estacado plays at 7 p.m. at San Angelo Stadium. And the other 2 games, Lubbock Christian is in Abilene against San Antonio Holy Cross at 4 p.m. across town in McMurray. Christ the Kings in the 6-man Division III regional round at 7 p.m. Friday in Knox City against Azle Christian. This round of the playoffs is always fun, Chip, because this is where West Texas teams wind up playing a lot of Metroplex teams, and they probably look out here. I haven't said it in a while, but they look at you and say, oh, little old Lubbock Cooper, little old Monterey. They don't. There's a tendency for them not to put a lot of stock on what you guys have done. You guys have been trendsetters, though. We talked about it the other day. Your guys aren't fazed by that.
Yeah.
They go out and they just play good West Texas football, and I'm going to guess that's what you're counting on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that goes into that. Like some of the big teams we play here, I mean, you know, playing Friendship and playing Lovejoy in non-district, you know, they're in a district with team we're playing. And so I think some of that just helps where it's just football. But I think a lot of these guys, even if they weren't part of the the teams that have played Alito and some of them, like Darius's brother Derek did, he played against them, and so I think our guys kind of grew up watching us make playoff runs, and I think that's part of what tradition is about. Getting to see that and getting to know that this is what we do. This is who we play, and so there's an expectation to play the DFW schools, not a we hope we get to. That's the expectation. So I think that helps us.
Does his brother play in the Phantom Fumble game?
No, your brother. No,
okay.
He was in between, kind of in between there. So
yeah, I'm still mad about that, and I'm not going to ask how you feel about it. Darius, the one thing Coach mentioned, you guys have started the season against Lovejoy the last 2 years, which I think is really cool. I think several Lubbock teams have started doing that. How much have games like that helped you? You're going to face friendship every year, you know that, but seeing a Metroplex team that first game and kind of seeing, okay, this is what we want to be ready for when November gets there, how much has that helped you guys?
It helps a lot. Facing 6A teams like that, it helps a lot. It just shows we could play at a high level. So when we play those teams, we ready for it. We're just going to play with confidence.
So I'm going to assume most of you guys' video work for the week's done. Hayes in the barn. When you look at Walnut Grove, what do you guys have to do defensively against them?
I'll say just contain the run for real. I feel like us in the secondary, we match up good with their receivers. I'll say just stopping the run for real.
Chip, looks like they're really balanced. You're not going to be able to say take this away because they're not going to be able to do that. Why is your defense? They've gotten better. We've talked. The numbers don't always show it, but your defense has gotten better as the years go on. What makes you feel like you guys can do something against them to keep the game where you want it to be?
Yeah, I mean they're a challenge. Like our defense has gotten so much better. This guy is a huge reason why. But we've played really good offenses and we've played really good quarterbacks. And this week's no different. Really good quarterback that runs the RPO, runs the tempo stuff. That's something that they do really well is run the tempo. And They just challenge your defense in a lot of ways, and so we think we've got a good plan. And I think sometimes when you play teams that they can do so much so well, and they do tempo, and they're going to formation you, and they'll run the old polecat where they're in the gate in the middle of the field. All that stuff that challenges you. It's like you focus on that so much, then you're not physical. Like it doesn't matter if it's a air raid team or a wishbone team. Physical football wins, and so we've got to play physical, and I think that's a key for us. Really, all three phases, but particularly talking about the defense, we got to play physical.
I've never watched you guys and never looked at you guys and said, "Man, Lubbock Cooper wasn't physical in that game."
Yeah.
So that part's taken care of, and the other part, a little bit different for you guys the last couple of years. They always say that the best offense is a great defense. It may be a little bit different with you guys. Part of your best defense is the fact that you guys can move the ball and score some points with Ryan Rodriguez and Cade Gant and Shemaine Johnson.
Yeah. Your
guys' offense is capable of standing toe-to-toe with anybody.
Yeah, it's that complementary football. If you're going 3 and out every possession, that's pretty hard on a defense. And so, I don't know. We hope and think that our brand of football travels and can keep you in any game that. If it's high scoring, if it's low scoring, we feel like we got the team to be able to compete.
And they've got every reason to be confident as they go into the area round. That's going to wrap us up for tonight and for this week. We'll be back December 1st in the High School Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta, and this is 100.7 The Score.